All right, so welcome to Blocks Part 2, and we're going to pick it up from here, Design Center. All right, so I'm going to jump back into my drawing, and there's one more thing that I want to show you before we literally get to the Design Center, and this is another neat capability. So what I'm going to do is zoom out, and you should have this off to your left, and let's go over and take a look at this. So what I've done, it's not to scale, please be aware of that. This is not a realistic thickness of a wall, and that object here is the door. This is just scaled way down, but the effect of what I'm going to show you will be there. Okay, so let's say for the practice we want to make a block for a door, and I've already pre-drawn the door. So let's go back through the steps and let's select Create, and let's call this just generically Door, even though you would maybe give it the size door 36, door 30, but door. Okay, and let's go to pick point. Now here is a classic case where what should the pick point be? And in an architectural scenario, absolutely you want that to be right at the hinge point. And that's typically where you would locate a door. So go ahead and click there. All right, and then select objects. I'm going to pick the select object button. And I'm going to window in just the door, not the wall or anything else. And hit enter. And there's the picture of my door. Well, I'm not going to put in any description. I'm just going to simply click OK. All right, now here's a case where maybe I could have selected the option of delete object because we don't need this anymore. So let's click on that and hit delete. Even though that itself was a block, but I want to start from scratch. Now let's say that this is going to be my door opening, and I've drawn this much of it, but technically we should trim those two lines for the door opening. So let's go to Trim, pick the Trim button, press Enter, and I'm going to select here and here. Now the only thing we need to know about this for the next time here is I think this is 1.5 inches. So my door opening, 1 1/4. Okay, my door opening is 1 1/4. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I want to insert that door. So I'm going to click Insert. Now, keep in mind I'm in Layer Center, and that shouldn't matter. Actually, I think I was in Layer Object for that, but we'll know in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to select Door. Yeah. And I'm just going to simply snap to the hinge point, and I'm good to go. Right? So if you have doors in the library and you're doing architectural work, it's a great thing. But let's throw a wrench in the works here. So go to the Line command. And I'm going to touch this inside corner, and I'm going to track over just a little bit. Doesn't even matter how much. I'm going to click here, and then go right across, and click here, and then enter. And in doing that, I realize I'm still in Layer Center, so I'm going to click that green line and switch it back to Layer 0. And hit Escape, and then switch to Layer 0 just to get out of Layer Center. Okay, so repeating, I pick line, I just tracked a little bit to the left and clicked. And now because we know our opening's 1 1/4, let's offset this line over 1 1/4. Okay? So I'm going to go to offset, and I'm going to type in 1.25, enter. Clicking this line, moving to the left, and clicking, and then enter. Okay? So there is my door opening. Let's go the extra mile and actually trim that. So I'm going to trim, enter, and click. All right, so here's the wrench in the works. Let's say that this door should open, that the hinge point is here, and it should open that way. Right? So let's say this is a right door, and we need a left door. Okay? But I didn't draw a block for that. Now I could put this one in and mirror it, but I don't need to do that. So watch this. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to click Current Drawing, right, because I was in other drawings. I'm going to click Current Drawing, and I'm going to throw in my scale, I'm going to throw in a -1 in the X. And just putting in a little negative right in the scale category. I'm throwing a negative in there. And now when I click this, it flips the door. That's like a mirror. It actually flips that, and then all I have to do is snap to here. Okay, and the beauty of this, once you grasp that, what if I needed a door that went this way? Okay, that would be a -X and a -Y. So let's try that. So I'm going to leave this one here, and I'm going to throw in a negative right there. I'm going to see if I'm right. Yes. Beautiful thing. Okay? And let's say that I have a door that needs to be put in this way. Okay? Well, I have to look at it right side up first. So that would be a negative x and a rotation. Okay? A rotation of minus 90. Okay? So let's try that. So I don't want a negative y. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to throw in a rotation. I'm going to throw in a rotation of 90. Okay? So let's see. I click there. Oh. So I wanted it. Drop this one in there. I think what I just demonstrated, maybe I'm tangling myself up here. This is what I wanted, right? So if we think about that, when it's right side up, I think I needed negative 90. Yep, so I needed, no, or 90. What do I have, 90? I think negative 90. I'll get it right. Okay, so let me throw in a negative 90. There we go. Okay? So when you do this a lot, you know, I struggle a little bit because I haven't done this in a while, but when you're in a floor plan and you have one block, trust me, after you do it a couple of times, you'll know before you even think about it. But again, what does this do? It saves me from having to create multiple blocks in different orientations. And that's the name of the game, is to keep your symbol library, you know, small as possible, so that it's manageable. All right. So I wanted to show you this, the ability to use almost a mirror and a rotate mirror by throwing in negatives to the values here, okay? And getting even more flexibility out of your blocks. All right. So going on to the next topic, the design center. AutoCAD gives us this neat interface that allows us to manage blocks. And so eventually when you start getting more and more blocks, then you have lots of things to keep track of, and how do I manage that? Okay, so the design center is one way. And what we have to do is select the insert button, and they keep moving this button around, so I think I shouldn't have brought it here. It's the view button, not insert. It used to be an insert. Old habits die hard here. So in the view tab, here is the design center right here. Okay, so select the view tab, and then in your palettes panel, you'll see right here, design center. Select that, and this is like the mother of all palettes here. This one's pink. So click it and give it a second to appear. Okay, and let me see. I'm just going to bring this to here. This is probably what you have right now. I'm going to, for the short haul, close out my blocks palette. We might very well come back to that, but just so I don't have so much screen clutter. All right. So when I open up my design center, I see a dialog that looks like this, and you have to be careful because you have to understand how to navigate around. It's real easy to get lost with this. So follow me carefully. We have 3 major places that we have to look. Okay. So there's actually 4 in total, but 3 that we'll key on a lot. These 3 boxes or windows. And this is your navigator. It's like a File Explorer. You could get to anywhere that you would if you opened up File Explorer. And whatever you click here will display in here. Now, hopefully you see something like I see. It may not be, you know, scrolled up at the same amount. But what I need you to do is hopefully you can see sample. Okay? And to find where we need to go, what you need to do is this ENUS. Now you can go sideways if it's a little clipped off or you're not seeing it quite right. So select the plus sign next to ENUS. And then you'll see Design Center and Dynamic Blocks. Click the plus sign next to Design Center, and that one really jumps out a lot. And basically what you have in here is a bunch of drawings. Okay, these are all sample drawings that come with AutoCAD. You never knew they were there. I never pointed them out. Now in here, let's say find the Fasteners US and click the plus sign next to Fasteners US. And then that has a bunch of subcategories. And in there, select the word blocks. Okay, so we've kind of drilled down as far as we can go. And these are all of the blocks that are inside that Fastener US drawing. Okay? Notice there's a Fastener metric, which are these same symbols but drawn to a metric size, millimeters. Okay, so now I want one of these blocks. So how do I get them? Well, simply double click on it. If you click, it's going to launch this insert tab. And this is the equivalency of that palette that we saw before. We have an insertion point, we have a scale, we could preset it, or a rotation, and by clicking in any of these boxes, it'll ask us at the time of insertion. All right, not changing a thing, just click OK. Bring your mouse into the drawing and click. Okay, and that is a hexagon head machine screw. Okay, so you've got looking at it from the side, you've got looking at it from the top, hex head half, so if I double click this and then click OK, right? And so forth. And now that you know that these all have blocks, let's explore some of the others. So I'm going to click the minus symbol to collapse that. And for architectural type uses, let's say house designer, click the plus sign there and select the word blocks. Right? You've got some various symbols. There is also home space planner. If you click the plus sign there and the word blocks there's some more architectural type things. And at your leisure, right, you can go back in here and you can explore some of the other drawings. Okay? So there's not a fantastic collection of things, but there are some. In the landscaping, those of you in civil engineering, there might be some things in there that could be of use. All right, I do want to point out one of the most valuable things of this design center that, to me, I would tend to use this more for that. And I'm going to go back to the Fasteners US, and I want you to look at this list here. We're able to drag and drop non-graphical content from one drawing to another. Now, this is graphical content. And if I wanted, from another drawing, I wanted the dimension style, the layers, the layout, I could, in fact, get a layer or a dimension style out of another drawing and bring it into my drawing. Okay? I want to demonstrate that, and I don't know what I have kind of in the queue, so to speak, here, but let's say, scroll. See some drawings here from you guys who will be looking at it. Okay? I'm going to open up this drawing, which is your assignment drawing. Okay? So that's your assignment drawing, but in order for me to see that in this list here, remember, I don't want to be in this drawing. I want to be back in here, in my block exercise drawing. So this is my current drawing, but I opened up the block assignment drawing. So what I'm going to do is click Open Drawings tab. And there is my block assignment drawing, which is this. So I'm going to click the plus sign for that, and I'm going to select layers. So I've got all of these layers in that drawing, but they're not in my current drawing, right? If I go back to home and I show you my quick layer list, I've just got my center, hidden, and object, okay? But if I want, let's say, doors, furniture, I don't want hidden, I already got it. Let's say dimension, doors, furniture, and stairs. I want those layers in here. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to hold the control key down, and I'm going to click these 4 layers, and then I'm just going to hold my mouse button down and drag it out of here and just drop it into here. Now, it doesn't look like anything happened, but if I click and look at my layer list, there they are. Furniture, dimensioning, object, and stairs, right? And doors. There's doors. There we go. So imagine that. I could do that with layouts. I could do that with dimension styles. Anything on this list, I can drag out of here and drop it into my current drawing. To me, that is huge, right? I don't even have to open up that drawing. I could have found it without opening it up. I opened it up just because I didn't feel like going digging for it. I knew I had something there really quickly. All right, I'm going to go close it because I really don't want it open. And I'm back in here. All right, so your design center, we're in the opener. I'm in the open drawings tab, and we were in the folders. Okay, so the folders to get to these sample drawings, right? I'm going to just show you where that is. So I have to scroll over here. So on your hard drive, if I go way up top here, I'm going to keep going up. It's in your program files. Then Autodesk. Now I got a million programs, so I'll compare yours with mine. And then in Autodesk, the AutoCAD 2020. And then in AutoCAD 2020, there's Sample and ENUS and Design Center. And that's a long journey to those blocks, to the end of the road on the block. So, okay, so that is the Design Center. All right, I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to show you the next excellent feature for managing blocks, and that is what's called a tool palette. Okay, the tool palette to me is one of the most valuable things in here. And I've made a lot of money out in the industry customizing the customer's tool palettes and making them really productive. All right, so to see that, okay, your tool palette, once again, is going to be in the View tab. All right, so let's go to View. And View is where we just went to get to the Design Center. But now we're going to select Tool Palette right here. Okay? So select Tool Palette. And just make mine a little bit more like yours. Fashion to the side here. There we go. So in your Tool Palette, you've got a whole bunch of tabs, right? And what I want you to do is find the tab that says Architectural. Okay? Click on Architectural. Now, I've got some custom tabs in mind, so disregard if you see something in mine that you don't see in yours, that's why. Right below Architectural is Mechanical. Select Mechanical. Okay, now, let me show you some really neat things here. So this is divided into an upper half and a lower half, and the lower half is metric. So in the upper half, let's go to the top one where there's this little lightning bolt that says Shoulder Screw Imperial. Click on that. And then one click and you have another fastener. Now, I'm going to zoom in on that so it's a little bit bigger. Just bring that into place and click. Okay? So really this is one-click access to inserting a block. That's basically what we just did. Now, these blocks with the lightning bolts, they are super blocks. They're like blocks on steroids. What does that mean? Put your mouse on it and click it. You have all kinds of other grips here. Anytime you see a grip with this big triangle, click on that and you'll see that there's a huge list. And these are other sizes of these blocks. For example, click on the SSI, which would be Stainless Steel Imperial -25, and that's the size of this fastener. Okay? And if I click on this other lower list, it tells me which diameter is the screw thread. And number 1032, let's say a 1/4 inch, 20 large. Okay? So the 1/4 inch is the diameter of the threaded part, and the shoulder is a large. If I go small, I believe this diameter is smaller. And let's click back on here and say small. Yeah. Okay. So these are what's called dynamic blocks. If we had an AutoCAD level 2, we would be learning that. But there's just not enough time in the course. But you basically create a block with other options in that block. Okay. And the ones with the lightning bolts are called dynamic blocks. Okay, if we go back to the architecture, and you need to zoom out because these things are big, they're gigantic, and we're in these little tiny things. For example, let's say select Stud Imperial. Stud is like a 2x4, and I'm going to click that, and I'm going to bring that in and click. So that's a piece of wood where it's 2 inches by 4 inches, and you're looking at a cross section of it. The X means it's like a section view of it. Click on that block, right, because it's a dynamic block, and let's say we'll select this list button, and I have other beam sizes. So let's say I want a 2x10, and then I have where I can add numerous side-by-side beam sizes. Okay? So again, remember I say that you're almost like you're now assembling your drawings. You're not drawing things line by line. You've got other neat things here. For example, Vehicles Imperial. If you click on that, remember, there's a car. So you're going to have to zoom out, and I'm going to locate this. Okay, I think this is a GTO Pontiac or Camaro or something of that nature. Okay, now if I click on this and I click on the list, I've got other different types of vehicles. Let's say sports car, or let's say sedan size. I'll be the first one to say, hey, come on, update your vehicles here. But in a drawing, when you're simply needing something to scale, right, you don't want to have to worry, what is the size of this? What are the diameter of the tires, right? You have something ready-made that you can just drop in the drawing and just, save yourself from drawing all of that. All right, so I'm going to delete this because it's far out of proportion to the rest of what we have, so I can zoom in and make sense of this. Yeah. Okay, so this is your tool palette. All right, next. Copy paste, okay? Another way of inserting a block from one drawing to another is to simply, let's say I want to select this, right click, and say copy, clipboard copy, and then jump over to my other drawing, and remember this is bigger. I'm going to right click, clipboard, and paste. Okay? So that could be done whether it's a block or it's not a block. Now let's go back to your first drawing here, the class exercise. And in here, I'm going to just draw with a rectangle. So going to the Home tab, selecting rectangle, and I'm just going to draw, let's say, a rectangle with, let's say, a circle, just to have something, and a square. So let's say that this is going to be my block, okay? So another way of making this as a block, whether I do it in this drawing or across a drawing, is to just right-click, say clipboard, copy, and then I'm going to window this in, enter. Okay, and now I'm going to jump to drawing 2, and then I'm going to say right-click, clipboard, paste as block. Okay. Now this is a block in my drawing. If I go to insert up here, there it is. Right? And I'm going to say recent blocks and current drawing. Okay? So in here, I selected insert, I select recent blocks, okay? And then when it added my palette, I selected current drawing. Now the reason I did that is when you paste as block, look at the name it gave it. It gave it this crazy name, $, blah, 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 right? That is formally called an unnamed block. And AutoCAD automatically does this when you say paste as block. So now it's actually an object part of my block library. I can click it from here and bring it in. And notice what it did, because I had rotations preset to 270, it automatically rotated. So you have to be careful, whenever you change something here, it stays changed. So I made some changes before and I don't want that. So let's say bring it back to its normal self. Okay, so copy paste is yet another way to create a block, or I should say copy paste as block. When you do that, the next logical name or next logical thing to look at would be rename blocks. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I don't want a block name that has this crazy. Oh, I have to go back to drawing 2 here. Has this crazy name here, this $. So AutoCAD has a rename block capability. And what we have to do is literally type that in. There is no button. We have to type in the word rename. Okay, rename and then press enter. And it brings up this big list of things here. And what we want to do is rename blocks. So in this drawing, I have this crazy name block. I'm going to click on that, and it shows me the old name, but down in here in the new name, I'm going to call it, I don't know, just to say widget. I'm going to give it my proper name, and then I'm going to select rename to. Now notice what it did. It got rid of crazy name there. So now this is officially its name. I'm going to pick OK. Notice widget. And anywhere we would look, if I come up here, widget. Okay, so it's renamed across the board. So in the end, whether you did a copy paste as block or you went through create, did all the steps, as long as everything in there is how you want it, the end result's going to be the same. Okay, let's jump to the final category here, which is following our list here, is assembling drawing components. Okay, there's a number of ways we can do this. I'm going to go back to my original class exercise drawing, and I'm going to close out my tool palette and my block palette. Okay, give us some breathing room here. All right, so I've got two drawings open. Okay. What I want to do is open one more drawing here by clicking on the plus sign. So we now have three drawings open, and this next section here is assembling drawings or multiple documents. What I'm going to do is go to View again, View in the ribbon, the View tab, and then all the way over to the right in your interface category, I want to select Tile Vertically. Okay? Tile Vertically. And what it does is it subdivides my screen to as many drawings as I have open. Now notice it sees this as a drawing, my Start tab. And I can't get rid of that. The X is grayed out. It's invalid. So I don't want to see this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to click on the little minimize button. And now that's kind of weird. I've got an empty space here. But if you go back to Tile Vertically, it will resize your screen to show you your three drawings. Okay? So now these are all of my open drawings, but I can only be in one at a time. You can see that with my cursor. If I go into this one, it's an arrow. Right? Cursor, arrow. But if I click in here, it makes that one the active one. And what I want you to do is to click in each one and do a zoom all. Z, enter, A, enter. So we see everything. Okay? Click in here. We didn't draw anything in there, so I don't need to do a zoom all. And then click back on this first guy, and then Z, enter, A, enter. Okay, so we see everything. Okay, so this is what's known as multiple documents. And I want to show you the easiest way to get content from one drawing to the next. Let's say that I want to get these three objects here over into this drawing here, okay? Without doing a copy paste. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little closer so you can see it. I'm going to window in all three items. Okay, so do that first. Then put your mouse on one of them, but not where there's a grip, right? Just on a highlighted line. Hold your mouse button down, right? It looks like you deselected, but my mouse button is still down. And then just bring that over. Look, I could bring it here, and then over into the third drawing and release. Okay? So that is the easiest way to get content from one drawing to the next. Remember, first you do Tile Vertically, and you window into one and just drag and drop it into the other. All right? And it requires really nothing. Okay? So we're working with multiple documents. Can only be in one at a time where you click. And then content from one to the other is window, drag, and drop. All right, just to explore a couple of other things, there's this cascading feature. I click on that, it kind of reshuffles them. And this is recommended if you have, 10 drawings open. The Tile Vertically breaks them down into such tiny squares, it's just unmanageable. But the problem with this is I can only see one at a time. But if I do a Control Tab, it'll page through each one. So I have the Control button down, and I just tap on the Tab key. And keep an eye on up here, and you'll see it's going from drawing to drawing. Okay, so Control Tab. I'm looking at drawing 3, last exercise, right, and drawing 2. So if you had a lot of them there, the faster you can do a Control Tab, the faster you'll page through them. Now, to get this back to normal, you would just click on the Maximize button, right, where we were back to normal. I'm going to go back to class exercise. Okay, so that is a lot of these little features here, right? Opening multiple documents, displaying simultaneous under the cascading, control tab to switch, or drag and drop items from one drawing to another. Copy with base point. I'm going to show you that, and paste to original coordinates. So we'll finish up with that. I'm going to go back to our original drawing. And, okay, so let's say that I want to copy all of this, but I want to paste it based upon this being connected to my cursor, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click, I didn't select anything yet, clipboard, and then copy with base point. So I'm selecting that, and then I'm going to snap to the center of this guy, and then I'm going to window in on all of these, and then press enter. Okay? Now I'm going to switch over to drawing number 3, and I'm going to right-click, clipboard, and paste as block. Okay? And notice I'm connected to the one that I snapped to, and I click right here. Now this was all seen as a block, but because I pasted as block, it's going to be an unnamed block. So let's see that. Let's go back to the Home tab, and then go to the Insert and Recent Blocks, okay, and actually current drawing. Okay, so there it is. There's my group of blocks, and then there's my threaded block. Okay, now that's what's called a nested block. Okay, when you have a block inside a block, which is what we do, we have this overall block here, and then inside that block is made up of threaded hole blocks. Now, I want to show you something. If I select that, and then I right click, and I go back to the edit block in place, right? That was that ref edit. You're going to see, I'm going to stretch this up a little bit. I don't think we can make this wider. Yeah, we could, but we don't need to. So now that we have nested blocks, you could see my main block here, and then I've got all these other ones inside it. Okay, so if I needed to edit my threaded hole, I could still do that through this. If I click on this, let me see, interesting here, this one. I can't do it. Let's just say I'll pick this one. That's interesting. I'll still have that, but technically it doesn't. But all right, I'm going to click on that and say OK. All right. So I could still drill down to this without ever exploding anything. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to draw something new in here. Let's draw a rectangle this way. And then I'll say Save Changes. Say OK. And again, they all have them. Right? So nested block, a block within a block. I don't want to get too far off on a tangent here. And then finally, paste to original coordinates. This, for you civil engineers, this could be a valuable one here. Let me show you that one. So let's say if we're back to the class exercise blocks drawing, and let's say that I'm gonna window. Let me see. I'm gonna window in on this. Right click, clipboard, copy. Okay, so I don't even need to worry about block or not a block. So I windowed in on this, right click, clipboard, copy. Now I'm going to switch over to my drawing number 3, right, which does not have that. And I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to right click, clipboard, paste to original coordinates. And it puts that in the same spot here as it was in the other drawing. Okay? I'm going to show you something. I didn't teach us this, but I'm going to type in the letter I and the letter D, ID, and press enter. And I'm going to snap to that spot. And what I'm looking for here is this number. Tells me the coordinate, 20.6567 by 16 and change, right? So 20.6 by 16.2. Now I'm going to go back over to this. I'm going to type in ID, enter, snap to here, and there's the 20.6 by 16.2. So if you need to get something out of a coordinate system in one drawing and put it in the exact same spot in another, that's a good one. All right, that was initiated with the paste to original coordinates. All right, that concludes our block lesson. What I want to now do is transition over to your assignments. okay, your assignment. Okay, so I want to display and describe your assignment. So that is over here. Let me zoom this up. All right, so what you're going to do is there's a drawing on Web Campus, and it's Blocks Assignment Spring 2020. What you're going to do is similar to one of your previous assignments. So this is what's in that drawing, right? The Spring 2020. When you open that drawing up in Model Space, you're going to see these two items. Okay? So what you're going to do is copy and then paste that into your title block drawing in Model Space. Then you're going to zoom in closer here. You're going to create a block of each one of these items, right? So this is your blocks to be constructed. So these are windows. You've got 6 windows and you've got 4 doors. These are closet doors. And each one of these are numbered. Do not include the little symbol in there. Just the geometry, right? So don't window in that. That's just number coded because this number 1 belongs in, we should be seeing a number 1 down here somewhere. Where is it? I know it's there somewhere. Well, I guess there is no number 1 block. Oh, here it is. I knew there was one. What did I say? Yeah. So here's the number 1 block. The number 2 block, you've got a few of those, right? They're scattered about. Now remember, some of them are going to be rotated, right? So you can make use of that rotation. And so there's these, and then there's door 2 and 5. So you've got doors 2 and doors 5, and then 6 and 7, the closet doors. And then you've got some furniture. Okay? So you're going to create blocks of all these items, and then you're going to create this floor plan. Right? You've just got the walls and the window and door openings, but you don't have the window or doors in place, and you don't have the furniture. Okay? And then you're going to give me the overall dimensions of that. And then, of course, fill in your important information. And then you're going to email me that file. Okay, so hopefully you understand that. Do not explode. Let me read through some of this stuff here. Okay, create a block for each component needed. Block names should be the object name, like door 1, door 2, door 3. And for the doors and windows, their opening number, like I said, for example, door 1 or window 1 or window 2. Once the blocks are created, do not explode the blocks. Block insertion points must be on each symbol and in a logical location. Like maybe the doors should be on the hinge. The windows I put in maybe the upper left or upper right corners. The viewport scale should be a 1/4 inch to the foot when all is done. You've got to zoom to that scale, center it, and then, lock it in there. Dimension the overall sizes as I showed you. Add the room labels. Right? Let's go back to the worksheet here. So I want you to type in the word bedroom 1, bath 2, and all that. I want you to type those words in. And the room label should be 1/8 inch when plotted. So not literally 1/8 inch in the model space. You've got to look on your cheat sheet what 1/8 inch literally becomes. If you want to use annotative scaling, by all means, be my guest. Then you're going to save it as blocks, floor plan XX. XX, you know the drill, first and last name. Assignment is due next week. Next week is going to be the 17th. And email it to me. All right. Please get these drawings done. I know some of you I haven't even received anything from, and that's just making a bad situation for yourself. You've gone this far in the course. If you want to pass, you're going to need to give me some work. All right. Enjoy. Hope everyone's safe, and see you next time.